What's up, guys? Welcome back to A Change of Scene. Today we're going to talk about what used to be one of my favorite aspects of the scene, and that was the drama or scene beef. The top 3 scene beefs that occurred. If I leave any of the good ones out, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do a part 2 on this. But for today's purposes, we're going to be talking about my 3 favorite. Subscribe below to see more rock and scene content like this. We're going to start out with the OG scene beef that was between Taking Back Sunday and Brand New. Yes, you know the one that I'm talking about. This was one of the very first beefs to happen in the genre, specifically between Jesse Lacey of Brand New and Taking Back Sunday. Just to kick us off, I'm going to give you a quote from Adam Lazzara about Jesse Lacey. Here's what he had to say. Quote, "I think Jesse Lacey is just a dick. He sucks. He's not a good person," unquote. A lot of this is going to be from a website called Far Out Magazine. So the beef started way back before that quote in New York's Long Island. What led to this beef? Well, obviously it was a girl. But we got to back up a little bit to when Jesse Lacey was still in Taking Back Sunday as the band's bassist. It was alleged at the time that Taking Back Sunday's frontman John Nolan hooked up with Lacey's girlfriend, which caused Jesse Lacey to leave the band, at which point he would go on to form Brand New. The diss track started flying immediately, with Brand New coming out with 70 times 7 and Taking Back Sunday responding with "There's no I in team." "There's no I in team" directly rips lyrics from 70 times 7 and other tracks from Brand New's first album. In 70 times 7, Jesse Lacey says, "I remember I kept thinking that I know you never would, and now I know I want to kill you like only a best friend could. Everyone's caught on to everything you do. Everyone's caught on to you." And that was just the beginning. Probably the best line and the biggest FU from 70 times 7 is when he says, "So is that what you call a getaway? Tell me what you got away with, cause I've seen more spine in jellyfish. I've seen more guts in 11-year-old kids. Have another drink and drive yourself home. I hope there's ice on all the roads, and you think of me when you forget your seatbelt, and again when your head goes through the windshield." So Brand New's coming strong out of the gate. Now for Taking Back Sunday's part, they responded with "There's no I in team" by saying, "And I've got a $20 bill that says you're up late night starting fist fights versus fences in your backyard," implying that he's just fighting himself essentially. "Wearing your black eye like a badge of honor, soaking in sympathy from friends who never loved you nearly half as much as me. Saying I was your true friend and you're just pretending to be hurt by all of this and you're wearing a black eye like a badge of honor." They go farther and say, "Broken down in bars and bathrooms, all I did was what I had to. Don't believe me when I tell you, it's just what anyone would do." And now Taking Back Sunday is begging him to get it out of his system by saying, "Take the time to talk about it, think a lot and live without it. Don't believe me when I tell you, it's something unforgivable." In January of 2002, these two bands actually performed at the same venue in Poughkeepsie, New York, and played these songs together. And nothing extracurricular went down at that show, but it's safe to say that the beef did not end there since they were still talking about it in 2015. Although the air was still icy between the two bands, they largely steered clear of one another after they performed together, at least in terms of formalized commentary or pointed lyrics and songs. There wasn't even that much press coverage about the beef after this. Brand New and Taking Back Sunday had never really been too keen on talking to the press about anything anyway. But then in 2015, Adam Lazzara had that quote where he said, "I think Jesse Lacey is just a dick. He sucks. He's not a good person. Who am I to say?" There's somebody out there that's going to say, "I'm not a good person. I don't know." Well, it turns out Adam Lazzara was actually ahead of his time with that quote, because in 2017, we learned a little more about Jesse Lacey and what he had been up to. In 2017, Brand New had to postpone its comeback tour in the UK following accusations of sexual misconduct against singer Jesse Lacey. A woman accused Brand New singer Jesse Lacey of soliciting photographs from her when she was years old and of performing acts on himself while video chatting with her. Pitchfork then published accounts from 2 women, one of the initial accuser and one who described Lacey as having cultivated a relationship with them online while they were. So it has come out since then that Jesse Lacey was online during his time with Brand New. Lacey responded, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter what he said. Who came out on top when it comes to this classic beef? Well, let's look at where the bands currently are to this day. One of them is still performing, and the other is not. Taking Back Sunday still performs shows. They were just at When We Were Young Fest 2024. And to this day, Brand New has not performed and is what you would call canceled in the scene. The next beef that we're going to talk about in the scene is another one of my favorites, and it's a Day to Remember versus 4 Year Strong. In my opinion, this beef was super slept on. Legend has it that A Day to Remember was opening for 4 Year Strong and wanted to play an extra song in their set. The band 4 Year Strong was playing after A Day to Remember, and 4 Year Strong didn't want them to have an extra song because it would have taken away time from their set. And the rivalry begins. Not long after that, A Day to Remember puts out a track called Second Sucks. At the beginning of that song, A Day to Remember says, "You've been at it for years but couldn't reach that next level. Let's keep it real. There is no competition to me, even if everyone around you acts like they don't see." This is a direct shot at 4 Year Strong, saying they've been working at this for years and they're never reaching the level that A Day to Remember is either at or going to be at. Is anybody else listening? Out of sight, out of mind is what you'll always be. I hold my cards to my chest, I laid my life on the line, so I expect nothing less from you. Basically trying to hold 4 Year Strong up to that standard. I speak the truth and everybody else knows it, so set your ego to the side and just get the over it. Can't waste my time on hateful people like you, so keep wishing you were me and I'll keep making you have to. In response, there's speculation that 4 Year Strong song Paul Revere's Midnight Ride is a shot back at A Day to Remember. In that song, 4 Year Strong says, "The passion keeps us moving along. Could I be down to try to get up off the ground to survive without you? 'Cause you'll still be living while I'm busy singing to live. Give up, give in, or get on the roof of the big time. And try to pretend you knew better. I don't care about you, because you'll still be living while I'm busy singing." The way I hear it, essentially, like, keep talking shit, because I'm going to be over here just doing my thing, singing in my band. To be sure, I actually think that both bands have denied that this beef exists. If you go watch the video for Second Sucks, you'll see in the video game who it looks like the band is fighting, and you can put 2 and 2 together. And as far as who won that beef and where both bands are at in 2024, they actually tour together to this day, so that's kind of funny, but you can clearly see that one band is bigger than the other in A Day to Remember, and I don't even think it's really that close. My final and my favorite beef in the scene is Ronnie Radke against everybody. Legit, this dude has talked shit about or been involved in beef with so many bands and so many people. I would say that it all started with his own band, which is the crazy part. So if you guys remember, Ronnie got kicked out of Escape to Fate for his drug use and all the things associated with that at the time. And Escape to Fate went on with lead singer Craig Mabbitt. Craig had just been kicked out of Bless the Fall and they were going to move on together. So in 2008, Escape to Fate with Craig Mabbitt was about to play their first show together. And who's in the crowd for that show? Ronnie Radke. And he's in the crowd antagonizing Escape to Fate on stage. Craig Mabbitt forgets lyrics during the set, but what happens next is the first shot. Escape to Fate is getting ready to play their next song, The Flood, as Radke is in the crowd and hurling insults at the band. Max Green decides he's had enough and heads for the microphone and he says, "I could stay with my band." This next song is called If I Could Stay Clean, I Could Stay With My Band. The crowd absolutely erupts. You hear Ronnie in the crowd literally say, "I can stay clean, you dick," screaming at the stage. "I can stay clean, you dick." And then the band just explodes into the song. Craig says in the song, "I can't believe the drama that I'm in. All because I'm," and then Max Green cuts in screaming, "leaving you behind." Obviously talking about leaving Ronnie behind. Now, in hindsight, you wouldn't think that there was like Team Craig Mabbitt and Team Ronnie Radke, but that's really how it was. Because you got to remember, at the time, Ronnie like really did kind of look like a piece of to people. There were a lot of videos on the internet at the time of him doing like things, and like things had come out about him that weren't flattering. People even wore shirts that said Team Ronnie to Escape to Fate shows. And you could see Craig Mabbitt and the rest of Escape to Fate like verbally getting in fights with people at shows.
Miss the old singer, he's locked up in Nevada. Go faggot. And by the way, anybody hoping to hear new shit from Ronnie Radke, he just got with heroin in prison, so he's staying there for a very long time. So fuck off. The song is called This War.
Escape the Fate went into the studio and began recording their first album with Craig Mabbitt. Ronnie had a police warrant out for him, and he eventually went to prison. That's a whole nother video. The beef between Ronnie and Escape the Fate continued, and Ronnie posted on his MySpace while he was in prison, "I'm more clean-minded than ever. Escape the Fate is me and will always be me, and you will forever live in my shadows." In another post from prison talking about Craig Mabbitt, Ronnie says, "I didn't say anything about this before, but you really are trying to be like me. My girlfriend now. So tell me, how does my taste? And my microphone? How is it living my life? Must be pretty rad. I would know. Don't get used to it. When I get out, there won't be much left for you to live in because the real deal will be back. But hey, maybe you could sing backup in my band." And as crazy as that sounds, it was true. Mabbitt had started seeing Ronnie's ex-girlfriend, Mandy Murders, who was a scene queen model at the time. She starred in one of Escape the Fate's music videos. So for something that was already like really personal, it just became a lot more personal. After Escape the Fate released that album, Ronnie started his own band essentially. It was originally known as From Behind These Walls, and then later Falling in Reverse. Escape the Fate would do tours while Radke was still in prison, but he started writing songs that would become The Drug in Me Is You while he was behind bars. Escape the Fate ended up getting picked up by Interscope in 2010. They kind of cut down on the shit talking and then put out a third album. But in that same year, Ronnie was released from prison. And when he was able to put out his first album with Falling in Reverse, The Drug in Me Is You, he got all of his shots in that had been pent up for years. Specifically, "You're what I started, now disregarded. One day they'll see it was always me. I've learned that my fate is something I can't escape, and I dug a hole 10 miles wide so I could throw all of you inside." Talking about Craig Mabbitt, "You're such a dumb. You need to shut up. You bring a picture of me every time you get your hair cut. Imposter." Talking about Max Green, he said, "And while God might be busy with judging your soul, I will have slept with the girl that you loved the most." And then just completely slamming everybody, he says, "I know you're jealous and you wish you could be me. I'm so smart and clever with my lyrics, can't you see? There's nobody better in this music industry, and in case you think you are, go ahead, give me a ring." Ronnie would even play Escape the Fate tracks at Falling in Reverse shows as like the encore. He would play Not Good Enough for Truth and Cliche and Situations, which were two of the band's biggest songs at the time. Unfortunately, behind the scenes while all this was happening, Max Green himself was dealing with a drug issue. So you got to imagine, Ronnie is thriving as a sober rock artist with a new band, and now the guy who was talking about him before, Max Green, is on Escape the Fate and struggling with himself. But Ronnie took this as an opportunity to actually like bring Max in a way under his wing. Max ended up getting kicked out of Escape the Fate, but Ronnie would help him get sober and like be a lifeline for him. In 2014, Falling in Reverse and Escape the Fate actually teamed up for the Bury the Hatchet tour. That was Ronnie's idea. They decided it was time to put past differences aside and give older Escape the Fate fans a chance to see the one-time cohorts playing the same stage together. Radke said, "I just woke up one day and thought, what better philosophy could there be than offering them a tour? So they agreed, and we're all set to do it on January 15th. And it's all for the fans. I know they'll be so excited, so I just can't imagine." Craig said he had also thought about doing the same thing with his old band, Bless the Fall. And while that didn't happen yet, he was thrilled at the idea of playing shows again with Ronnie Radke and his new group, Falling in Reverse. Putting a Band-Aid on their beef, Ronnie also said, "There's a lot of respect there, so there's no worry of bad stuff happening. It's been great and everyone's on the same page. It's like old times because I've had fun hanging out with the guys and it's all good." Craig Mabbitt said that it's okay to like both bands and that it's water under the bridge. Now you have two great artists that you can support. I'm gonna wrap it up there today, guys. I didn't even have a chance to get to Falling in Reverse's beef with I See Stars yet, so I think I might have to do a part 2. Subscribe below and let me know in the comments what your favorite scene beef was. Also, let me know who I should cover in part 2.